Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this Friday, February 4th. Live from the Beasley Media Complex in Boone, this is the Appalachian Weekly News. I'm Stephen Biddix.
And I'm Sydney Gladwell.
Watauga Medical Center saw a record high number of COVID-19 patients in January. Over 30 patients were hospitalized with the virus and 26 of them were unvaccinated. 5 Watauga County residents passed away due to the coronavirus in January as well. Appalachian Regional Healthcare Senior Vice President Rob Hudspeth said this is a concerning trend because admissions are outpacing discharges. Watauga County is also seeing a spike in cases, recording its highest case amount throughout the pandemic, sitting at just under 900 cases. The best way to protect yourself against COVID-19 is to get vaccinated and boosted, and you can find more information on that at www.apphealthcare.com/COVID-19-vaccinations/.
If you've been on campus this semester, you may notice a very different environment due to the highly contagious Omicron variant. Our correspondent Dylan Henson has the story.
With cases increasing across the U.S. due to the highly contagious Omicron variant, many universities have opted to go remotely for the first few weeks of class, or maybe the entire semester. App State has told students to get boosted and to wear a face covering when indoors. Today, I spoke with Caitlin Larson and her experience with the university and their COVID protocols.
I recently was tested positive for COVID and I stayed the 5 days for quarantine, but my roommate didn't even get an email or confirmed that, hey, like, this is what you should do. So she didn't know what she should have done if she was around me, and she could have gotten COVID. And I don't even think my other friends were contacted that I put in the contact trace. So I just don't think that there's enough extensive work to ensure safety of students.
I reached out to the university's COVID safety team for an interview, but they were unavailable to fulfill my request. The university did point me to the COVID dashboard that is updated every Monday with answers to the most frequently asked questions. Here, it explains that masks are the best way in fighting the virus. Many students are still concerned about the way the university is responding to COVID. Nursing student Micah McCoon tells us how he believes vaccination should be required on campus.
I do think the university should require vaccinations to come on campus. I know people have some strong opinions against that, but I think the research shows that getting vaccinated is the best way to protect you and everyone around you.
As we continue to navigate this pandemic, we should be very thoughtful of the people around us and continue to wear face coverings and practice social distancing when possible. Reporting for the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Dylan Henson.
Some apple cart routes were closed temporarily, and students were concerned about routes being closed indefinitely. Our correspondent Nick Fago has more.
Apple Cart has been a part of Boone's public transportation system since 1981. It provides free services for students, residents, and anyone who is in the Boone area. With the recent snowstorm happening, many of the Apple Cart routes were temporarily closed for students and anybody in the surrounding areas. Due to the snow, the buses had a hard time since the roads weren't plowed. One route in particular, the Silver Route, was rumored to be closed indefinitely. The Apple Cart Silver Bus route was rumored to be closed indefinitely on Old Bristol Road for students who were off campus.
It's definitely been a big inconvenience, especially during the first couple weeks of classes, having to get friends to give me rides.
This would have had an effect on students who lived off campus on Old Bristol Road. It has been about a week and a half, and now the Silver Route has begun production again.
Yeah, having the buses back is definitely a really good thing for me. I mean, I'm finally, after the first 2 weeks, I'm able to make it to my classes reliably and on time. I don't have to worry about emailing teachers and doing Zoom options. I can actually be present for them.
Now that the Silver Bus Route has returned for Appalachian State students, they no longer have to be concerned about having to get on-campus parking permits. With App Weekly News, I'm Nick Fago.
During my freshman year here at Appalachian State, I parked my car at the 105 lot, as most freshmen do. That year, Boone experienced one of its biggest snowfalls ever, resulting in the cancellation of class and winter exams. When I finally managed to get out to the lot, my car was enclosed in snow and surrounded by dangerous, icy conditions. That was 4 years ago, and sadly, nothing has changed. The biggest snowfall of the season happened almost 3 weeks ago, and the conditions at the 105 lot are still cause for valid frustration. Our AWN correspondent Marin Blake spoke with App State freshman Ava Bandy, who said, quote, "They scraped the snow, but they just piled it behind our cars, so I wasn't able to get out for a while. It's also impossible to see where the parking spots are because everything is covered," end quote. With no plans for the university to help students out, all they can do is wait for warmer weather.
The U.S. Supreme Court will be revisiting the legality of affirmative action in higher education after taking on 2 cases from conservative groups. Grace Powers has more on how this could affect you and future college students.
Affirmative action has long been a controversial topic, but until now, the program has never been so close to being restricted. Here's what that means for Appalachian State and other universities across the country.
The Supreme Court recently agreed to hear 2 cases regarding affirmative action in admissions programs at Harvard and UNC Chapel Hill. The court upheld the policy in 2016, but with the conservative majority now on the court, it's predicted that affirmative action will likely be ruled illegal. Several studies predict that if the policy is banned, universities across the U.S. would see decreases in Black and Latino students. So what would the end of affirmative action look like for App State? In 2021, App State's Diversity and Inclusion team reported that its undergraduate population was 82% white. In addition to that, App's faculty is 95% white. I talked to the president of App State's College Democrats, Stephen Leverton, about the impact the court's decision would have on the university.
It's not really a secret that there's an issue with transparency with the university regarding minorities here and discrimination towards minorities, especially minorities that work here at App State. And while I think affirmative action can do a better job ensuring that those workplaces or the schools that people apply to they feel more inclusive, I think it should be here to stay to ensure that discrimination doesn't continue going forward.
I also talked to River Collins, president of App State's College Republicans, to hear his thoughts.
The most important form of diversity is diversity of thought, of which I have talked to thousands of people over the course of my years up here at App State. And there is a severe diversity of thought, no matter if someone is white, Asian, Black. So I think that as far as that goes, that wouldn't be affected too much.
It's expected that the Supreme Court will hear arguments for the case in their next term, starting in October. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Grace Powers.
Boone PD is investigating a break-in at the Boone Drug on Deerfield Road. It apparently took place on Thursday around 3 in the morning. Cameras were able to capture 3 men with masks break in through a window. 2 men then proceeded to enter the pharmacy and take a large amount of prescription medications.
When we arrived at the location, we certainly saw pretty clearly that someone had entered our pharmacy, and we proceeded to wait to be able to go inside. As far as information on what and if anything was taken, able to speak to that, but certainly someone did.
The suspects escaped in a black Dodge Charger with a Virginia license plate and were last seen going south on Highway 105. Boone PD is asking that anyone that may have any information to please call 828-268-6900.
Amidst the hazardous road conditions left behind by Winter Storm Izzy, the Ashe County Sheriff's Department responded to reports of a stolen ambulance on NC Highway 163. Although the ambulance couldn't be tracked down on the road, 24-year-old West Jefferson resident Austin Alberto Hernandez was arrested after officers responded to a breaking and entering call in the nearby area. Hernandez is being charged with multiple felonies and misdemeanors relating to the 2 crimes, as well as a slew of felony possession charges. According to the report, Hernandez is currently being held at the Ashe County Detention Center under a $250,000 secured bond.
The town of Boone and Boone PD is looking for your help after the mural on the corner of Depot Street and West King Street was vandalized. The 2 suspects were caught on camera walking downtown after the incident. The man in the red flannel and App State hat is the main suspect and was accompanied by the man in the fleece and blue jeans. If you recognize either of these subjects, please call Crime Stoppers at 828-268-6959.
Coming up on the Appalachian Weekly News, Watauga County gets a health report.
Hola, soy Brenda de Buenos Días Boone. Así que venga a pasar sus mañanas con nosotros y sintonicen el campus o en los canales locales. Nos vemos pronto y que tengas un buen día, Boone. See you soon and have a good day.
Hi neighbor, I'm Ryan Perone. Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. as we explore the people, events, and organizations that make the High Country so special. You can tune in on Channel 198 for Spectrum customers, Channels 20 or 1020 for Sky Best customers, or Channel 23-3 on campus. Until then, bye neighbor.
Let's go! To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Wow! A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
AppTV's original gaming news channel Pixel Peak is back for more great content.
We're very excited to be kicking off our 7th season here and continuing news on the gaming industry.
Each week, 4 hand-selected gaming-related news stories will be covered along with an analysis segment of either Xbox, PlayStation, PC, or Nintendo, and finally is wrapped up with a game review.
If you're interested in gaming news, be sure to watch us at apptv.com or any of these channels every Wednesday. Thank you for stopping by, and we hope to see you here on Pixel Peak.
Last Wednesday, App Healthcare announced their tri-annual Community Health Report for Watauga, Ashe, and Allegheny counties. The report was conducted through collaborations with several agencies, as well as surveys and data collection. According to the report for Watauga County, the central areas to focus community resources on are mental and behavioral health, promoting safe and healthy homes, and an increase in community/social support. On a more positive note, the report also stated that Watauga County is 10th in overall health for North Carolina counties and is below the state average for obesity, teen birth rate, and STDs. To read the full 66-page report, visit apphealthcare.com.
We have an update from last week on the closing of Cafe Portofinos. The owner of the building proposed a demolition to create a smaller commercial building. River Street Ventures is leading the way for the demolition and said the project will cost around $50,000. This will include stream bank stabilization, floodplain reestablishment, and river buffer restoration. At a zoning meeting held Thursday night, demolition issues like structural safeness, environmental disturbances, and what the future plans are were brought up. First steps that could result in the demolition have been approved, and now it requires approval from the Historic Preservation Commission before the building can be torn down.
The decision to give broadband internet access to more than 1,600 Watauga County homes was recently approved by the Watauga County Board of Commissioners. The Broadband Expansion project, headed by Blue Ridge Energy and Skyline/SkyBest, is estimated to cost $7.8 million and take at least 3 years to complete. According to the report, the funding of the project will come from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, a COVID-19 stimulus bill President Joe Biden signed into law back in March. Other uses for the funds are expected to be allocated to the Watauga County Sheriff's Office, a proposed livestock processing center, and the planned Valley Crucis Elementary School.
App State is one of the nation's best online colleges according to the U.S. News and World Report. App State is being recognized for its online bachelor's degrees and online master's education programs. App State ranks in the top 31%, finishing 93rd out of 321 schools for their master's education programs and 111th out of 361 for their bachelor degree programs. This is also the second year in a row the Business Administration and Management degree has been recognized by U.S. News, placing 30th in the nation. Online degrees have become much more popular throughout the pandemic, and the U.S. News stated, quote, "Online education is no longer just an option for many students. It has become the norm." End quote. Over 1,700 master's and bachelor programs were evaluated for these rankings.
Did you know only 33% of snowboarders are women? For over a decade, women's snowboard organization Beyond the Boundaries has cultivated an experience as one of the leading women's snowboard camps, and they're coming to the High Country. This Saturday through Sunday, Beach Mountain is hosting Beyond the Boundaries' second annual women's freestyle snowboarding camp. The event offers all of the camp staples, such as professional coaches, custom-built private terrain parks, loaded goodie bags, lunch, and more. No park experience is required, but comfortability on the board is advised. For more information or to register, visit btbounds.com/beach-mountain.
The town of Beach Mountain is also creating more family fun with the addition of a sledding hill. The hill was originally an overflow hill, but is now the official sledding hill of Beach Mountain. Town manager Robert Pudney stated, quote, "We have seen tremendous activity at the sledding hill. Natural snow brings a lot of visitors, and it has exceeded our projections in the winter months," end quote. The hill also has its own parking region where you use a mobile app to pay instead of town parking meters. The hill is open every day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Dalen, I know that men's and women's basketball has been red hot lately, and they both played yesterday. Were they able to keep the streak going?
Well, both teams are hot, and the App State women's basketball team sits at 11-8 while riding on a 5-game win streak after back-to-back wins over Coastal, most recently coming this past Saturday, 70-68. They were down 15 at the start of the fourth quarter and rallied back when Janae Sanders hit the game-winning floater as the final seconds went off the clock. Alexa Alesh and Janae Sanders led the team in scoring with 18 points each. Alesh finished with 8 boards while Sanders had 6 boards and 4 steals. Next, the Mountaineers travel to Arlington, Texas, where they will face off against UT Arlington. The Mavericks are 13-5 and 7-2 in the Sun Belt. They are coming off an 11-point victory over the University of Arkansas Little Rock. This game will be the second of a 4-game road trip that still features trips to Georgia Southern and Georgia State. Now shooting over to the men's side of the court. App State men's basketball had its 6-game win streak snapped after falling on the road to Texas State 66-68. Adrian Duff led the team, finishing with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, while shooting 5 for 9 from 3. Donovan Gregory had 17 points with 6 rebounds and 2 assists. The Mountaineers were down 41-29 at the half and came back but fell 2 points short after outscoring the Bobcats in the second half 37-27. The Mountaineers will stay in Texas and play UT Arlington tomorrow at 6 p.m. on ESPN+. The Mavericks are 9-12, most recently falling to Texas State 58-53. Their game against Coastal last night was canceled as they turn their focus to App State tomorrow. Tune in and cheer on your Mountaineers to victory. App State Wrestling currently sits at 5-2 and 3-0 in the conference. They are coming off a nice showing at the Appalachian Open this past Saturday, finishing with the champion as well as 4 finalists. Henry Gorner won the title in the 141-pound bracket that featured 2 other App State finalists. It was a medical forfeit that resulted in Gorner winning. You can see App State in their next matchup at UT Chattanooga this Sunday, February 6th. Now back to you guys.
Now it's time for your High Country High Note. The Sound of Music begins in Boone this month, courtesy of one local program's efforts to promote traditional music education. Registration for the Boone Junior Appalachian Musicians Program is now open for their spring semester music lessons through February 7th. The 45-minute lessons, beginning on the 17th, are held every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon at the Jones House. The program focuses their instruction on instruments common to the Appalachian region to cultivate a greater appreciation for the cultural heritage. These instruments include the banjo, fiddle, guitar, mandolin, and ukulele. The spring semester takes place over the course of 13 weeks and concludes in a recital for friends and family in May. For more information about Boone Jam or private music lessons, call the Jones House at 828-268-6280.
And that's our report for the week. I'm Stephen Biddix.
And I'm Sydney Gladwell.
For all of us at the Appalachian Weekly News, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.